Good morning, Buddha. Good morning, everyone, on this beautiful cold morning. It is my favorite type of weather. It's also the best kind of weather to meditate in. Weather to meditate in. So today we have officially completed our first section, our first part of the series on breathing meditation. So we've been working on that for the past couple. So today we are starting with mindfulness meditation. So you have the notes for that with you. If you don't have any of the previous notes, feel free to visit our website. All the notes from previous classes are on the website as well. That way you can download them and use them. So today we are doing mindfulness meditation. In the next class, in a couple weeks, we'll do walking meditation. So mindfulness meditation is not really a type of meditation per se, only because every meditation already includes mindfulness in it, right? You have to be mindful in order to meditate. But I'm included in here just so we can practice being specifically mindful. Because in the past we've been meditating on our breath, so we've been focusing only on our breath or the movements of our breathing. Excuse me. And not really, and just kind of making small notes of thoughts or sounds. But for today, we're going to be specifically just working on concentrating on those noises or thoughts or feelings. So I've given you a very short, some short notes. What I've also included on here is a few gathas, or just kind of daily sayings. I believe it's on the third page. And the whole point of really being mindful is just being aware of what you're doing, right? So mindfulness doesn't really take too much energy or work for you. It just takes your attention. So, and of course, it's difficult to try to be mindful 24/7 when no one expects mindful 24/7, but it is important to at least try to consistently be mindful throughout the day in order to kind of really enjoy your surroundings and enjoy your present moment. So include some daily gathas, and gathas in Buddhist practice are just kind of verses of sayings, right? So for monastics, for instance, for monks and nuns, we have 52 gathas that we have to memorize and we say throughout the day, right? So we have a gatha for waking up, we have a gatha for putting on clothes, putting on a robe, for brushing our teeth, for walking out the door, opening a window, opening a door, right? So for every little thing we have a gatha, because that helps us be present. It helps us stay mindful of our surroundings and what we're doing. So I've included a couple for you all to this. You can locate the book that it's in. I believe it's called Stepping into Freedom by Thích. I'm sure you can find a free version online because everything's available online nowadays. James is a master of finding online books, so he can help you next time. But I've included only a couple for us, or for you to kind of attempt to use, right? These gathas are not religious or spiritual whatsoever, right? If you go through them, it just kind of it's giving you some really pretty verses, right? To remind you of what to do, right? So for instance, on washing vegetables, right? Or just watering the plants, or driving the car, or eating, or before eating, or looking in the mirror. And it's telling you just kind of what to think in a way, or what to reflect on. So if we're looking over the gatha and looking into the mirror, the gatha is awareness is a mirror reflecting the four elements. Beauty is a heart that generates love, and a mind that is open. Right, so that's a really beautiful, just a quick saying to remind you that just to be open-minded, to accept everything with love and compassion as it comes, whether it's something good, whether it's something bad, just be mindful and be able to mindfully listen, right? Part of mindfulness is being able to fully listen to the person, right? If you're encountering someone who's angry or who's kind of in a mood, right? Our probably first response is just to ignore them and kind of like, okay, fine, whatever, and just kind of walk away, right? But if we are able to be mindful of that person, we will just open fully, listening to them fully, and be able to understand what they're saying. And that way we can respond with understanding and with compassion. Because a lot of people who vent to us would want to just vent to kind of get it off their backs or get it off their shoulders, and maybe just to hear a few kind words from you, right? I don't think most people expect a huge like aha moment if they're venting to you, but they are wanting someone to listen. So it's important for us to be mindful of that. Listen to them with understanding and with openness. That way they feel better and we can better understand what they're going through so that we can react with compassion and with love. So, more specifically in today's meditation. So, I'm hoping to speak within the next 20 minutes so we can have a full 30 minutes again. So what we'll do today is hopefully easier than most of our breathing meditations, but you can concentrate on your breath if you want that one focus to concentrate on. So whether you're counting your breath or you're just acknowledging the in and out of your breath, right? If you're counting it, you're counting 1 in, 1 out, 2 in, 2 out, up until 10, and then you just go back or reverse back 10 to 1. So if you want something specifically to focus on, feel free to do that. But what I would like us for today to do is, since it's semi-quiet, because the AC is not on, because it's like 20 degrees, not really, but there's not too much sound background noise at the moment. So we will sit with mindfulness, and I want you to just observe your body, right? Just to listen to your body, listen to your surroundings. So I have the birds here, I haven't moved them yet. So if they're quiet, if you hear them moving around, just say noise or just say birds. If you hear the machine outside running, just say machine or say noise, right? You're just labeling things that you hear, that you feel. So if you have an emotion that comes up, just label the emotion. If you have discomfort, just say discomfort. If you're gonna have to move, just say you're moving or you're adjusting or you're lifting. So you're just kind of being mindful of everything that you're doing, everything that you're saying or thinking, and that you're hearing or smelling, right? So you're just kind of being mindful of what's going on around you. It is important to not to entertain any of those thoughts, right? So if you do hear the machine going off or Luke outside talking or playing around, don't play with it and pretend and acknowledge what it's doing, right? Don't think of what the machine is doing. Don't think of what Luke is doing or what the kids are doing or what the sound is, right? Don't follow that trap because that takes you away from your mindfulness. Your whole point of being mindful is just to acknowledge what's going on, give it that title, give it that label, and then just move on with your life. So if you hear the noise, just label it very quickly, right? With a 1 or 2 word label. It doesn't have to be something too detailed or too much, just something simple and quick. And the same thing with your body, right? So if you're aching, if you are thinking of something, try to catch it as quickly as possible. And remember, I say that it's okay to think during meditation, right? It's not, your goal isn't necessarily to completely stop thinking. The goal is to be able to acknowledge that you're thinking, to catch it and say that I'm thinking, and then just let it dissipate, right? Because if you're able to catch those thoughts or catch those distractions, then you are successfully meditating, right? That is the goal, is to be able to acknowledge what's going on, to acknowledge that you're thinking or being distracted, because that's the accomplishment. It's not necessarily having no thoughts whatsoever, because obviously that's kind of very difficult, right? We're always thinking. It's just our habit that we're thinking a million things a day. So during meditation practice, what our end goal is, of course, at the end, is to be able to lessen those thoughts or lessen those distracting thoughts or feelings or emotions, right? And through dedicated practice, those thoughts will subside and they will lessen, and hopefully one day they'll completely stop. But for now, we just want to kind of acknowledge them, because once we acknowledge and tell our brain, hey, I know you're thinking this, or I know you're feeling this or feeling that, it'll kind of reprogram your mind. Like, okay, this guy obviously wants me to stop thinking. I'll chill out for a little bit. So don't be discouraged if you're thinking or you find yourself being distracted. As long as you find yourself being distracted or you find yourself thinking and feeling or hearing things, that is perfectly okay. You are doing meditation correctly. But just remember to not entertain or play with those thoughts. Just kind of acknowledge that they're there, give it a label, and then just move on. Your mind will just kind of automatically let it go and move on. So that is my quick talk today. Thankfully, that was the very first time I've not spoken more than like 30 minutes. So I'm very proud of myself. Um, only because it's a pretty easy thing to go through, right? Because every time we go over a different method or practice, mindfulness is already kind of ingrained in everything that we already do. And like I mentioned earlier, there's not really specifically a mindfulness practice. It's just now I want you to specifically work on labeling and work on listening and feeling your surroundings. Any quick questions or concerns about this before we jump in?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. I promise you it's not that bad. Speaking of that bad, not really. On the, what did I say? 23rd? Yes, 23rd. So on the 23rd would be our second class for November. In replacing the class, I think we may do a half-day meditation retreat. I will have to double check and verify with teacher able to do that. But half-day retreat will be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's not that bad, I promise you. Once you're here and once you're kind of in the zone, in the mood, it kind of just the day goes by pretty quickly. We used to do temporary 8 precept retreats every other month, but we haven't done recently only because we've been busy with the construction and all that. So now that the weather is finally being generous with us, I'll say that we're generous. I think it'll be nice because that way we get to meditate or do walking meditation outside. So 10 to 23, if anyone is interested. It'll be, the retreat will, like a normal retreat, will just consist of very short or almost no chanting except for the very beginning, and we just do the opening ceremony part. That's the only chanting we'll have mostly for the day. It'll consist of 3 45-minute sessions of sitting meditation throughout the day and walking meditation. And then, of course, we'll have breakfast, lunch, and a very light dinner. Then we'll have, of course, Dharma talks throughout the day and time for questions and answers, and a few sessions to do some chores around the temple, and, of course, a break in the middle. So it's not as horrid as it sounds when I say 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It goes by pretty quickly, I promise you. And it's a really good opportunity for everyone to kind of really connect with themselves. You'll find a lot of self-discovery, at least I have in the past. And then, of course, being able to practice with other people, and you get to have your questions answered. For the most part, you have all day to ask questions this time, right? You don't have the few minutes here and there during temple services, but it is a great opportunity to find yourself. I'll leave it at that. If you're interested, pen the 23rd. Hopefully, I'll announce it soon once I actually have confirmation. But 23rd of November will be the day. Yeah, I'll let you all know. Okay. Any questions? What I'll do, what I've always been doing, is halfway through our 30-minute sit, is I will walk around with my handy-dandy meditation stick that's somewhere. I won't hit you with it, I promise. But what I will do is I am basically just observing your posture. For those of you who haven't been during the first few sessions, I'll kind of go over the 7 points of posture for you. Because that is important since we're going to be sitting for a full 30 minutes. So for sitting, I've gone over 7 points of your sitting posture. So the first point is to sit cross-legged if you're on the floor. What I recommend you doing is, because you really want to be a little bit higher off the ground, your butt should be a little bit higher than your knees or thighs. That way you just have a kind of like triangular foundation, it's easier for you to sit, and it's easier, and it's less discomfort on your legs and feet, and your feet will not fall asleep, hopefully, or not fall asleep as much. So if you do want to sit on a couple of cushions, please grab more. These small square ones are not very firm. So if you want something more firm, grab a couple of the big red ones. That may be a little bit easier for you. If you are sitting on the chair, just be sure that you're also sitting up straight, that you're flat on the ground. So that way you're not kind of crossing your legs or crossing your feet on the chair, if you're able to sit fully flat on the ground. The second point is to keep your back straight. All right, so you want to keep your back as erect as possible. That way you're not constricting on your lungs, and it's easier for you to breathe, and you don't have too much discomfort in the chest area. So my thing that I like to do to get the straightest back as possible is just raise both your arms over your head and just kind of stretch out, and then just bring your hands slowly down. That will get your back as naturally straight as possible. The third point is to keep your shoulders back, right? So likewise, you want your shoulders kind of aligned with your hips. So keep them back that way, because if you keep them too slouched over, then your back's gonna slowly start slouching forward, and we don't want that. So just kind of keep them, have broad shoulders, right? Then you're going to a nice fancy interview and an employer. Then you want to keep your hands rested, either on top of each other, like the traditional meditation posture, or you can keep them flat on your knees, more convenient, easier for you. If you do keep them on your knees, just remember to not use your knees don't hold yourself up with your knees, right? You just kind of want to naturally, slowly keep your hands on your knees. Don't hold yourself up. Then your neck, again, should be held back and tall, aligned with your spine, so everything's has a straight line. You should be able to sit against the wall completely flat. Then your eyes, since it's early morning, and depending on how much coffee you've had, don't close your eyes completely all the way. You want to keep them semi-open, just enough to be able to see kind of like at a 45-degree angle in front of you. Because if you completely close them, then you may tend to fall asleep. And you don't want them completely wide open either, because that way you're not getting distracted by everyone around you or by things moving outside. So keeping them semi-open is the best. And then your mouth and tongue. Also, likewise, you don't want to clench on your teeth either. The best thing to do is to rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth, right, kind of behind your teeth and where your gums kind of meet. That helps keep your mouth a little bit open and avoiding your teeth from clenching and your jaw from clenching. It also helps keeping the saliva in the back of your mouth so you're not constantly swallowing either. So those are the 7 posture points. So halfway, 15 minutes in, I'll get up and I'll walk around and kind of monitor everyone's posture. I will do one of 2 things or both things. All right. So I'll have my stick and I'll gently tap you on your shoulder if your shoulders are too, or if your shoulders are not back enough. I'll tap you on your shoulders, or I'll tap you right behind on your back till you need to straighten up your back. If I do have to correct you, or if you have to correct yourself, just remember to be mindful as you're doing it. So just notate that you're correcting or you're lifting or you're adjusting, right? So before you do anything or as you're doing something, just tell yourself, label what you're doing. So that way you're doing in mindfulness. And don't do anything too quickly either, just do it slowly. Once we go in and out of meditation, when I hit the bells to come out, you want to open your eyes slowly and gently, and you want to stretch out slowly and gently as well. Don't do things too abruptly or too quickly. So I would recommend everyone to kind of do a little bit quick stretches right now, just kind of get yourself in posture, because we'll be sitting for a while. Well, as we have loud machinery outside as distractions this time. On kind of like overnight distractions. Cats and children indoors. Well, I hope everyone was maintain some sort of mindfulness for a period of time. Any questions, concerns, emotional outbursts?
So keeping the eyes at an angle open is very distracting. What exactly is is it just to get a glimpse, or is it just to keep the focus? But it was very, I was very mindful that I wanted to close my eyes.
Well,
tell me a little
you
bit.
can't close your eyes. You can close your eyes. The suggestion to not close your eyes is to help you not fall asleep. But you can close your eyes if you can not fall asleep. So if you're skilled enough and you're awake enough, then by all means close your eyes. The point of keep your eyes open at a semi-open at an angle is just to kind of give you somewhere to focus on to look at, right? So for instance, during like our Sunday services, if you have the book in front of you and you're looking at an angle, usually for me, the word I'm looking at or what I'm focusing on is the word temple on the cover of our book. Right, so that's where you should rest your eyes and look at. So we don't have really anything in front of us now, but kind of 45-degree angle is just a general suggestion to where to look at. Because you want to keep them completely open, then you're looking around, you're asking yourself questions, what's this, what's that, always listening to fly by, oh look, there's a ghost in the corner, you know, you're saying, looking at all different things. And of course, the other than that is if you do close your eyes completely, then you may just kind of like tend to drift off.
It worked because the times that I did close my eyes, I don't close my eyes, but I did notice that, so I reopened them so I could focus.
Right.
It was kind of fun labeling everything because I felt kind of cavemanish. Dog, child, my sister shifting, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Because it gives you some sort of hopefully sense of control of yourself, right? Allowing your mind to control you, you're controlling your mind, you're telling your mind, hey, this is what's happening, this is what I'm doing, this is what it is, versus letting the mind tell you what to think or distract you and you kind of, entertain it and move along with it. So the labeling definitely helps. When we do a walking meditation for next class, that's pretty much almost 100% what you'll be doing. But instead, we're going to be labeling the movement of our feet. So next time for next class for walking meditation, you have the very basic labeling of right, left, lifting, moving, setting. Right, you're lifting your foot, you're moving, you're setting your foot. And then there's about 4 or 5 different additions you can add to it, right? So you can say lifting, rising, moving, adjusting, lowering, touching, stepping, right? You can add more to each step to help you focus more, right? So we'll go over different labels like that next time. But walking meditation is almost 100% labeling. In the very beginning, when you first started, right? Kind of just enjoy the walk and the movement. The labeling will help because it does give you that sense of control. At least it should. Any other questions? All right, so we are on point time. So we'll go ahead and if you'd like to join me for our closing session, closing meditation, and then we'll